Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of Weird Mind News. You already know the drill of all the previous episodes. We're talking about the new releases, we're talking about the trailers, and we're talking about the news, of course. So, let's just get right into it then, shall we?
Who let the dogs out?
So for the new release of this week, well, the first big one, we're heading over to the DC Universe. Now, I'm not sure if this is the DCEU or the DCU, because things are very confusing at this point. But we have the all-new superhero that started as a streaming film release and got made into a full cinema release, and that is with Blue Beetle. Now, this new film will follow the story of the young hero of Jamie Reyes, who soon finds himself in the possession of an ancient relic known as the Scarab, and he will soon find itself become attached to him as a host and take on the form of the superhero of Blue Beetle and use it to protect his family and the world from evil that want to take the relic back. Now, reception for this movie has been decently received, while some were a little mixed, basically seeing it as being too similar to a lot of other superhero films in the genre. But anyway, if you want to have a bit of fun time with a new hero, then I'm sure this is probably something you could definitely check out, and I don't think it could be much of a problem, so yeah, I'll definitely be checking this out. But on the other side of films for this week, we're going on quite the raunchy R-rated journey that may have you howling with laughter, possibly, with the newest R-rated comedy, Strays. Now, this new film will follow a small border terrier named Reggie, who in this film will be voiced by Will Ferrell, who gets abandoned by their neglectful owner of Doug. He soon teams up with a group of other strays, like a Boston Terrier named Bug, voiced by Jamie Foxx, an Australian Shepherd named Maggie, and a Great Dane, and they all go on a journey across the country for Reggie to get revenge on his owner Doug by biting his dick off. Now, reception for this film has been quite more mixed, as while some of the humor is a little lowbrow, but it does have some amount of heart and story to it. I'm sure it might be a little harmless fun, and you can check it out. So I might check it out at some point, but you can check it out yourselves. It's available in cinemas now. Now, this one was announced just last week, and currently is only released in digital format, but we are getting a physical format later in the year. But we got the surprise announcement of the original Red Dead Redemption, which comes after the sequel in the timeline, but we're not going to get into that too much right now. Getting an all-new port version to the PlayStation 4 and 5, be it backwards compatibility, and on the go with Nintendo Switch. Now, in this game, you take on the role of John Marston, where he has been forced by the government, most specifically the Pinkertons, to go and travel across the dying old Wild West to find and kill the remains of his old gang, including Bill Williamson, Javier Escuela, and their original leader and mentor, Dutch Vanderlyn. It's not only that, but we also come with its highly acclaimed spin-off DLC of Undead Nightmare. That's in a non-canon alternate timeline where you take on John Marston again and go across the country to try and find a cure to a sudden appearance of a zombie epidemic. Now, the game back then was highly praised as one of the best games ever made. And currently what I've seen from reception from critics is that this new version on the Switch and PS4 have been also highly praised, even if a lot of audiences and YouTube pundits of desk chair critics have all criticized it as well, wanting it to be an actual proper remaster. But do you really want a GTA trilogy again? Because I sure don't. But I will definitely be picking this up in probably a physical format, but you can play it now on the Nintendo eShop or the PlayStation Store for, I think it's a decent price one I've seen here, but yeah. If you want to head back to Wild West, then I'm sure you can do that now. And on our final release of this week, if you're looking for something a bit more tense, scary, or something to play with a friend, then I would suggest the all-new game based on the popular horror franchise of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, in this game, you can play as in a team of 4 survivors against a team of 3 killers, as you must survive against those crazed family of lunatics and find or rescue someone dear to the survivors, or end up becoming minced meat in the process, in this multiplayer, high-tense, spooky experience. Now, the reception what I've seen has been kind of well received from what I've seen online. Most complaints I've seen is the lack of content, but most cases it's similar to like a Dead by Daylight or Outlast Trials kind of thing, that content will release over time. And I'm sure it doesn't look too bad. I've seen footage of it, looks pretty good. So if you want to play a bit of a spooky, tense adventure with your friends, then I wouldn't shy away from this game, and I would recommend it. And with that, of course, that is the end of all the new releases that have come out this week.
We are Sex Bomb. We are here to make money and sell out and stuff.
Now, earlier in the year, I think I wrote on my blog that we were getting an announcement that we were getting an anime-inspired animated version of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, based on the graphic novels of the original name by the original creator, and gonna have the original voice cast of, the film version by Edgar Wright. Well, earlier this week, we finally got our official first look at this upcoming new adaptation in the form of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. This will, of course, tell the story of the novels and the movie of Scott Pilgrim, who falls in love with a girl named Ramona Flowers. In order for them to stay together and be happy, he must battle it out with her 7 crazy exes. Now, this looks so stylized and is very accurate to the book's graphic novel and the very popular video game, and of course the film, which I pretty much adore. And this new series will be available soon enough, as it's not coming out too far long, as it releases on the 17th of November of this year. To now present this new trailer, I shall do it in a bit of a song, and not make it as bad and cringy as Miranda Singh's ukulele video, because I don't have a ukulele and I can't play it. It's adventure time, come grab your friends, all back together for more misadventures again, with Cake the cat and Fionna the human. The fun will never end cause it's adventure time. Yes, we have an all new version of Adventure Time in the form of Fionna and Cake, as they get transported to the land of Ooh and must find a way to save the land and get back home. Now, it does have some of the familiar faces of the beloved original series, which includes Princess Bubblegum, Finn and Jake, and the Ice King, and a few other names in there I need to have a look at again. But, I need actually a few episodes to catch up on as well. But this does look as charming and as fun as the original, and you don't have to wait long, I think, as this new series apparently dropping here on August 31st. But that could be affected due to it being on a Max original, and we don't have Max over here, so let's see how it happens. As for the last of the 2 trailers that I'm going to be talking about this week, one of them was from 2 weeks ago I talked about, and one of them is from last week, but there's a reason to this. So, our first trailer is coming to us with a second and final trailer for the final season of Disenchantment from Matt Groening. Now, this new series, of course, follows Princess Bean and her friends Elfto and Lucy as they have misadventures in the land of Dreamland. Now, this new season will see Bean, Lucy, and Elfto team up with the Dreamlandians and all the other mythical creatures to help save the kingdom of Dreamland from Bean's evil tyrannical mother, Queen Dagmar. Now, the series looks great from its animation point, and it has been enjoyable from what I've seen. It has been a while since I watched it, and I might need to catch up on it. I'm blanking on that if I've seen the whole thing or not. But if you want to see how the story ends, then you don't have to wait too long, as the series is releasing in 2 weeks' time on September 1st. And now, to wrap up the trailers for this week is something I talked about last week, but we have gotten our first look at the official gameplay trailer for the newest installment in the long-running Call of Duty franchise, in particular the new one of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Now, this game, of course, will probably follow on from the plot of last year's title, Modern Warfare 2, and we'll see Captain Price and his team, including Soap and everything like that, teaming up to take down popular series villain of Makarov. Now, visually, it does look great from the graphics and everything like that, and the last few Call of Duties have looked pretty good. And hopefully the campaign and the zombies maps and the multiplayer is all pretty good, and it's not just chock full to the Warzone, the Battle Royale system that's just so outdated at this point for the last 5 years. But anyway, besides that, you don't have to wait too long, as this new game will be available soon, and you can gear up and get ready for that when it releases on November 10th. And of course, with that is all the trailers that we have for this week.
I kid you not, Steven. He turns himself into a pickle. He's called Pickle Rick. Funniest shit I've ever seen.
So let's start with some update to one of the most highly anticipated superhero films of the future, and as of course with the conclusion of Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. Now, recently with the strikes and with all the stress that went into the fantastic Across the Spider-Verse, which you can read my review about down below in the blog or my video, this film got delayed from its initial late March 2024 release date to an unknown date at this time. They don't have it on the release schedule yet, that's to say. Now, we do have some news on it. Earlier in the week, the producers of this film, and some of my personal favorite creative minds in film and television, of Phil Lord and Chris Miller, most known for their stuff of Cloudy Chance of Meatballs, Mitchell's vs. the Machines, the Lego movies, and to some extent, if some people remember this, Son of Zorn. Well, they were on a tour to promote the new film Strays, as they are producers on this as well, on that film as well. And they were asked about some news and updates for the next Spider-Verse, with the Verge themselves confirming they have stated they'll be released when it's ready, and that they are hard at work on it and will take its time to make it great. Now, I'm glad they have come out and stated as, well, yes, I was hoping to see this from initial day one on March 29th of next year. I also kind of want a case where I'm totally fine with this movie getting delayed because, Into the Spider-Verse was lightning in a bottle. They struck twice with the Fantastic Across the Spider-Verse, and I'm hoping for sure that Beyond the Spider-Verse is just going to be even great. I hope it's a case that at least they do this so there's a perfect mix of, comedies, pop culture cinema. All the 1,000 animators are actually have plenty of time to work on it, have the resource for it, have the dedication, the plan, and are not overworked or stressed out, or get all done and actually get paid for a decent wage as well, because these animators are fucking masterwork. But I'm sure we'll probably see in the next little while, and hopefully it will turn out fantastic like the first two and not a complete disaster. But what do you think of these statements, and are you excited for the final part of the Spider-Verse trilogy? And also, when do you think we will see the finale of Spider-Verse? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Now for some long-running series news, and this is coming to us on the topic of the all-new season of American Horror Story. And believe me when I say this is a horror story this season. Now, not much has been released this week on the series itself, but we got free posters based on the 3 announced cast members of the season, which of course we have Emma Roberts, we have Cara Delevingne, and lastly, Kim Kardashian. Now, the whole internet has been in unanimous agreement that them casting the Kardashian was probably a really bad idea. And I, for one, agree. And most people I feel are going to probably get turned away by this show for people who do not like the Kardashians, so they got famous for nothing except for Kim's mom releasing her sex tape and, forced them to make a second one they were going to release. Basically, they used that to make a television show that was pretty bad and was happy when it got cancelled. I'm not going to get into it. And just everything is just wonder why the studio thought this was a good idea to cast a Kardashian into the... I know they mentioned that this character is specifically made for Kim Kardashian, which sounds like a really bad idea, but we'll probably get something to show some footage of the new season, and this character is going to get shown off when the series premieres next month on September 20th. But what do you think? Do you still watch the series, and what are your thoughts on Kim Kardashian being in the series? And also, do you think the series is still going well, or is it kind of hit or miss? I've heard a mix of things. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Okay, so this next one, I'm going to try and keep brief. So, we all know that Rick and Morty is a very popular series on Adult Swim. Now, earlier this week, we got announced that at some point next week, which I probably will talk about next week, we're going to get the official release date announcement for the 7th season of the series. And apparently it is supposed to come out by the end of this year. Now, while that is some good news for some that are looking forward to new season of Rick and Morty, I'll probably tune into it. One big elephant in the room that we need to know about is who will be voicing the 2 main leads. Okay, little backstory here. Earlier in this year, Justin Roiland dropped out of his studio of Squanch Games as well as working on Rick and Morty because back in 2020 he was arrested for violence and assault charges with an old partner of his. And all this other shit came out. I think his stuff was dropped. I'm not sure what the full outcome of it was. It kind of was there and then disappeared and we're on to the new stuff, but I don't know. Now, whether or not they already filmed some audio for season 7 of the show, I have no idea. But most case, I'm thinking likely he's going to get recast, as it is similar to a situation with another show that he was also a main lead voice in, and that was Solar Opposites, where he was actually replaced with Dan Stevens, I think. I think that's what it is. I haven't watched Solar Opposites. Is it good? I don't know. But anyway, I'm sure we'll probably get some clarification when this announcement comes, I think early next week, so... We'll find out in next week's episode. But what do you think of all this announcement, and when do you think this new season will release? And who do you think should replace the voices of Rick and Morty? Let me know what you think of your predictions down in the comments below. But now for some news on a monstrous scale as we head over to Apple TV. Now, a little while back, it was announced that we were getting a new Godzilla and Kong film of next year, of course, if it is not delayed. But we also got confirmation from Apple that we were getting a new series based on the fictional company in the series of Monarch. Well, now earlier this week, we were given some official details of the plot, some first look images, which you'll probably see here on the screen, and the official title of Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Now, to go on the case of the plot, this new series will focus on the aftermath of Godzilla and the Titans leveling San Francisco and see 2 siblings as they follow in their father's footsteps as they uncover their family's connection to the company and into the world of monsters and down a rabbit hole of a mystery that spans over 50 years by the knowledge and secrets of one officer Army Officer Lee Shaw. Now, this series will, of course, span the 5 decades, with the character of Shaw being played by father and son of Wyatt Russell and Kurt Russell, with Wyatt in the past and Kurt in the future. Now, I'm sure we'll probably see and learn a lot more about the different Titans that Monarch knows of, and we'll probably see more of how it all plays out whenever this series releases. We have no idea when it's coming out, probably still in production when the strikes are still on, but we'll have to see what happens, and we'll probably get some confirmation. But once we do, I will let you know in the video. But what do you think of all of this, and are you excited for even more Godzilla and Titan-based content to come out in the coming years? Let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Alright. Now we got some tech news from the social media that seems to be a complete disaster right now, and that is with Twitter, or X, and from its questionable methods of its owner of Elon Musk.
This is the most obnoxious thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Oh joy. Okay. Now, I mentioned the last few times about the likes of it getting a name change to X, of course, which just makes it sound like a porn site. Its concept that was a really dumb idea when it was announced. Of course, as well, with all the other things of its questionable limitation, its firing of half the entire employees in the world, and everything else like that. Now, if you know any form of social media, you know that on all forms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all of them, there's always a block and restrict. Basically, a lot of people use it to block accounts that may cause, like, bots, scams, probably people you don't want to be friends with anymore, all that sort of stuff. Well, for some reason during the week, Elon thought it was a good idea to get rid of that button entirely on Twitter, and purposely, I say this once again, Musk is an idiot. An effing idiot in particular.
Look, Pim, I know it's our job to help this guy and everything, but I think this guy's a lost cause. He's obviously made up his mind. Why don't we just cut our losses and get out of here?
Now, his reasoning for this is that he sees this as a method of getting more advertisers to come back to the platform, as many opted out of the service when he took over the company, and the whole app made the whole app a nightmare. But we also will probably see now people leaving this app because, they're not going to be able to restrict people who are basically maybe harassing them, threatening them, scamming them, botting them, all of this sort of purposeful shit. Now, I don't know if this has been officially confirmed if he's going to still do it, or he might have changed his mind, but you don't know what Elon Musk. No one knows. He thinks he's big smart man. He uses big brain, but show me proof of a good purpose, and not in the case of all these Twitter stands will suck him off. I don't know, but I can see this completely just collapsing. I don't know, but anyway, what do you think of this new idea that Musk has thought of, and do you feel that Twitter will probably be obsolete or shut down by a certain point in the near future? Because I feel like at some point it's going to happen. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Okay then, and now we have some new updates on release day announcements and changes, and a lot of them are mainly for what is coming out over the next few weeks up until the end of 2023. Now, a lot of them seem to be taking place in October, and to better discuss it, I will go in the order of the announcement of release, or the case of when they will release. So let's start with the first change. This is coming to us just next week as we take a trip to a galaxy far, far away with the new series of Ashoka. Now, they just had a fan event screening there for the first 2 episodes earlier this week. I think it was released Thursday night. And the social media reactions, of course, have been very strong, but that's a lot of times with social media reactions. I'll probably do a video on that concept anyway. And it was there that it was also announced that this series will be releasing earlier than its initial release time, as usually shows will premiere around 12 a.m. in the US and around 8 a.m. here in the morning. But now it is moved up early by around 6 hours, where it will release now on Tuesday evenings in the US around 6 p.m, while over here it will still release at a still late time of 2 a.m. in the morning. And this now is going to apply to every episode, starting with the 2-episode premiere next week. But of course, we'll see how that goes on, and we'll talk about that series in next week's episode, of course. But now going from a galaxy far, far away to the past in 9th century Baghdad, with some news on Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now, at the start of this week, Ubisoft themselves announced that the newest game Mirage had officially gone gold, and work on it has been complete, with probably most cases up until the release and shipping of the product being left to just polishing and bug fixing until it could be properly shipped. Now, in conjunction with this announcement, they also announced that the newest game in the series will actually be releasing a week earlier than expected, as we now release on October 5th instead of its initial release date of October 12th, so it might help a little bit with release schedules. And now for the first of the 2 new date announcements. So a few weeks back, during the Nintendo Direct in June, we got an announcement that the Arkham trilogy of Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight were all announced to be coming to the Nintendo Switch sometime this fall. We didn't get a release date, we just got a release of fall 2023. Well now, courtesy of the Rocksteady social media account, we got an official release date, as along with the awesome piece of artwork that we're going to be showing on the screen here. We also got an official release date of October the 13th, or Friday the 13th in particular. Now you're probably thinking, I'm sure there's probably a delay. Well, there's only one this week, and this is coming to us with the long-awaited sequel to the sleeper hit of the Xbox 360 with Alan Wake 2. Now, the original came out all the way back in May 2010 for the 360 and was a very popular game, even if it wasn't exclusive to the console. Now, about 2 or 3 years ago, they announced and released a remaster for the game for all modern consoles. Reception was well received for that one as well. So let people enter the strange and twisted world of the offer of Alan Wake. But now a couple of weeks later at the Game Awards, they also then announced a sequel, and then that sequel is now coming out this year with just a slight delay. Initially, the game was set for release on the 17th of October of this year, but is now announced that the game will be delayed by just about 10 days to the 27th of October of this year. Just to, the reason being is to avoid competition with all the other games of recent time, because I think 3 days after you got Mario Wonder and Spider-Man 2, you've got a few other ones from earlier in the week and all that sort of stuff, so I understand that case. And finally, just about 2 days ago, we received the announcement of the release date to another new series that's coming to us from Disney+. Now it's in the form of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Now the series was announced a little while ago, I believe it was last year, and not much besides some posters or images were unveiled until just this week, with a very small 30-second sizzle of some of the clips for the upcoming series, and the unveiling that the series will be releasing just in time for Christmas. In particular, the first 2 episode premiere releasing on December 20th, and a new episode releasing every Wednesday following that until the end of the season. Now, it does sound interesting from the small bit of footage, but I'm sure we'll probably get some more new news and a full trailer probably down the line. If there's a Disney Plus day, I most likely say they will probably do it there. But what do you think of all of these day announcements? And are you excited for some of the new releases in general? Let me know what you think of them down in the comments below. And to conclude with our final story for this week, it was a little bit of a late addition to all this, but it has some rumored casting news. Now, for all of you, one of the most known, acclaimed, and best shows of TV that have come out this year came to us in the form of HBO's The Last of Us series. And I've already got confirmation that a second season was on the way, with some people working on it show saying that series could run for about 3 to 5 seasons. And now the next season will start to tackle the huge story of the acclaimed, yet also controversially debated sequel. One discussion most fans want to know is the casting of one particular character in the series, and that of course is Abby. Now, the showrunner Craig Mazin has hinted that they may have already been cast as the character of the series, and are not sharing yet until most case productions back up and running, but we do have a rumored name for the actual role. Now, according to the rumors that have been going around, that this casting of Abby will be played by Australian actress of Sharon Berry. Now, she's not probably most well known of actresses, but she's probably known for her character in the series of The Wild. And looking at comparisons of her character in the show to the one in the game, then I could see this probably being a decent casting. But right now, we cannot confirm it yet until we got some official announcements from the actual HBO or Craig Mazin or Neil Druckmann. We'll have to see what happens whenever that gets announced. But what do you think of this casting, and who do you think or want to play as Abby in the series, or any of the other characters that are going to be introduced into the sequel? Let me know what you think of it down below, and of course, that just brings us to the end of the news. Whew, that was a lot of talking, but that brings us to the end of another episode of Weird Mind Newsroom. And I hope you all enjoyed listening to me rambling for a pretty lengthy bit of time this week, but there's a lot of stuff that came out this week, so I wasn't failed to judge. There's any point there's no trailers, and I was like, where's all the trailers? Anyway, enough of that nonsense. So, some updates on the channel as well. Well, as things are currently recording, I have the last maybe 2% of the video, the long form video to finish. I probably need to put some background music in, maybe just get a bit of a flair, because I know apparently background music works for stuff. I also plan to start writing more reviews. I got a couple that I have to catch up on. Like I've got a Gran Turismo one to do. I've got Oppenheimer, Barbie, Little Mermaid, Fast X. I want to try and at least get the Ninja Turtles and the Meg as well to record them, and Blue Beetle, so I can at least record all those ones. But those will take time as well. Also, other stuff I need to work on. I'm going to try and figure out some other methods of other form of videos. Probably think of another idea for my list of stuff for long form videos. And if you have any ones that you want to hear me do a video on, let me know in the comments, or message me on social medias and stuff like that. I will honestly take any suggestions. I'll dedicate them to you, and I will do a video on them. Probably will take some time, of course, because this one actually took me about nearly a month, but I took a lot of effort into it. But Anything else? I think that's pretty much it I can think of right now. I've got stuff on, so, you know, I do what I can. But anyways, of course, if you have any opinions on all the stuff that was talked about this week, let me know in the comments down below, and let's have a discussion about it, because, you know, there was a lot this week I want to have a talk about. And, you know, I'd love to have a conversation with all of you that watch my videos, of course, you know. It's people that just maybe tune in for a small bit or to watch the entire thing. And I'd love to hear what you think about everything. And of course, you know all the drill. If you enjoyed this video, why not like it? I appreciate everything. You view it, I appreciate it. If you comment, I really appreciate it. And if you share it and subscribe to a lot of other people who haven't seen it, I appreciate it as well. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there right now for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed. And as always, I will see you in the next one. And stay being wonderful people, because I know you're all wonderful people. Alright, everyone. Take care, everybody.